All right, at 6 o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask everyone to please rise for Pledge of Allegiance and prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sean, if you'd lead us in a prayer, please.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for this community and everyone in it. We come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we're gathered together to conduct city business. We ask that you guide and direct us in everything that we say that we do, and we thank you for all that you do for us. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. There's a white Toyota out in the parking lot, if anybody in here knows that they left the headlights on. All right, there's nobody here.
What's
All
that?
right. Their headlights,
Who's?
a white Toyota.
Oh, I don't know.
Vehicle.
I'll tell you that. Okay.
Sure?
No, but I got Teresa's Jeep, and I thought
Okay.
if I turned them on.
All right. Next up is roll call. I am present. Alderwoman Dent.
Here.
Alderman Bullerjack.
Present.
Alderman Whalen.
Here.
Alderwoman Cisco.
Present.
City Administrator Burbridge.
Present.
City Clerk Kohler.
Present.
City Attorney Weber. Public Works Director Payne. Chief of Police Chase. Finance Director Stacy Houston. And I see our other city staff is Ms. Melissa Du Bois, Park and Rec. Next item up is the approval of tonight's agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
I will call for the vote. Alderman Bullerjack.
Yes.
Alderman Whalen.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent.
Yes.
And Alderwoman Cisco.
Yes.
Next up is the approval of the consent agenda.
I would move to approve the consent agenda.
11th, I got that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I will call for the vote. Alderwoman Cisco.
Yes.
Alderman Bullerjack.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent.
Yes.
Alderman Whalen.
Yes.
And I see that we have no one signed up for public comment tonight. Next item up is bids. We got the Second Street bid approval.
Address it?
Yes. You want
Okay,
my,
so this property on Second Street, officially addressed as 306 East Second Street, was actually donated to the city through the voluntary demolition program. This property, the owner had inherited it and lived out of state and had no intentions or plans of moving back to Salem. And since it actually needed some cleanup done on the lot, that was how first contact actually happened. We'd reached out to the property owner to see about getting it cleaned up, and at that time they asked about could they donate it to the city. So it was donated. We cleaned up the foundation that was on the property and leveled it back up, seeded it, and so then put this back out. This has been before you previously to approve it as surplus. And so we put bids out on August 20th. We accepted sealed bids. Those were due on September 18th. At 3 p.m. There was one bid submitted by Sherry and William Harwiger, who actually live right next door to this lot. So this lot, part of why it was surplus, it's really too small to build a home on to meet all of the setbacks required for our codes. So we received the one bid from the Harwigers for $1,000. Like I said, we really didn't budget this. We didn't really have any idea of what it might bring in, so we didn't put a budget number to it. And so at this time, we would have a few other steps. If the board chose to approve and accept this bid, we will need to do the deed. I briefly kind of mentioned it to Attorney Weber. And so there's a couple of other steps that we would need to do. But for tonight, we're just asking for the board to either approve or deny this bid.
all right. This time I open it up for the board for discussion.
What's the size of this lot? Do you know?
Oh, gosh. My apologies. Let's see, do I have any additional? No. I can pull it up if you want to bear with me for just a moment on the GIS map.
Okay.
I really didn't think it was a full lot.
Not big enough to build a house on.
Not with
Put a garage on it.
Not within ordinances of your offsets, you couldn't, not much of one.
Forgive me.
You're fine.
So the size of the lot is 60 by 82 and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Pretty small.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any other discussion?
No, I don't have any other questions.
None here.
All
There's
right.
no more discussion. I'd like to make a motion, approve.
I second the motion.
You want to say something, Alderwoman?
No, I was going to second.
Oh, okay. This time then, I'll call for the vote. Alderman Whalen,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
and Alderman Bolerjack.
Yes.
Next item up is the welcome home bid approval for 102 South Washington.
Okay, so this, on our latest round of bids for homes, we received the bid. So of course, in the description is some kind of generic information about the program itself and how the funding works. We advertised bids starting July 16th. We did walkthroughs with contractors on August 9th and opened bids on August 23rd, and we only received one bid on this home. So as you've seen previously, this bid that we're asking you to approve is more than the amount approved in the program. So, and I think we actually accidentally got the negotiated bid put on here. Apologies for that. You can still clearly see though what the original bid was at $34,000. So as usual, we ask you to approve the original bid at the $34,000 and change, and then you'll see the negotiated bid with the contract itself later in the agenda. And this will be the last home in the program.
How many homes did we do?
We cut the number down to 15.
Okay.
Okay, that was the amended. We unfortunately had one applicant who passed away the day before they were going to do contractor walkthroughs. We had 2 other homes that were bid same time as this one, and we received no bids for them. And we are
Okay.
unfortunately out of time to rebid them.
Sure.
And get the work done by the end of December.
Okay.
So, yeah. I know I've shared with the board previously, this program, well, I think it's a wonderful program for what it does. It has been a struggle to get contractors to bid on them, as evidenced here, when you bid 3 houses and only get a bid on 1.
Yeah.
So getting contractors to bid, and also finding homeowners. I mean, it was a tough criteria, because everyone had to be low income or very low, and
Mhm.
have funds to match the program with. And so that's a really tough thing to come up with.
Yeah. So we did 15 or we did 13 or something like that?
13 is what we're gonna end up with.
Okay, that's great.
And I've been talking with Federal Home Loan Bank. They're aware of the situation and why. They're aware of the death. They're aware of these last 2 that we could not get bids on.
Okay.
So,
Are there any restrictions or requirements that make it contractors reluctant to bid? Or is it just so much work out there?
I think it's so much work. I mean, first of all, the other thing to remember, these aren't your average home remodel contracts.
Right.
So, because most of us will go to have our home remodeled, we're looking for some kind of upgrade. That's not what this program is about. It's not about putting in, upgraded countertops. It's making sure there are countertops. It's
Right.
making sure that floors are stable and
Right.
roofs aren't leaking.
Right.
So it's not, you're not gonna have the upcharges for a contractor that you're gonna have in a regular remodel project.
Okay.
And I think that's a huge factor for it, that there's enough other work out there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, we've struggled, we also through this program contracted, to use a HUD certified housing inspector. So we had both Jared, our building
Uh-huh.
inspector, and, sorry, my apologies.
Is that something that the school department
Sorry,
could
I
do,
just
the
needed somebody to
south
say something.
building?
This is new.
Yeah,
And
there's
so
snowed under too.
we had
Hmm?
two
There's
building
snowed under
inspectors.
too.
Oh, okay.
And even this HUD certified building inspector that we're having, working with us on this program, he even reached out to all of his contacts. And he had a couple of contractors who bid on some of the previous houses, but he was struggling to get them as well.
Okay.
It's not just
Us, yeah.
Right, and he covers the 9 counties of the Merrimack Regional Planning Commission.
So he knows. Okay. All right, thanks.
All right, any other further discussion? This time, do I have a motion for the bid approval at 102 South Washington?
Make a motion for the bid approval.
And I'll second.
I will call for the vote. Alderman Whalen,
Yes.
Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco,
I'm going to abstain from voting due to my relationship with Riverways Federal Credit Union.
and Alderwoman Dent.
Yes.
All right. Next up is a repeat from our last meeting. We had a tabled item. It's for the pool media bid approval. Miss Melissa Du Bois, would you come on up?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Melissa.
I wasn't here when this was brought up, but I did reach out to Westport. They today sent information on what the warranty information would be, and they said it's a year on labor and a year on they're gonna have to install a hatch. And then they sent the packet on the warranty for the media change, but I left it on my desk.
Melissa, what all's involved in replacing the media for the filter from the sand to glass?
From what I understand, they have to pull it all out of the current filter and then they'll put it all back in, but it's, there's a bunch of plumbing in the way, so they can't pull it out. They're gonna have to go through the deck. And
Okay,
put a
so it's more
manhole.
intense than I
Yes,
thought.
yes. They're gonna have to put a manhole through the deck. That's safe for us to be using during open hours.
Okay. So that was an oversight probably in the design of the pool then?
Potentially.
They didn't provide for a way to...
Or they changed how they do, they could have changed from the years that they put it into what it needed to be.
Okay, that makes-
An upgrade or
okay.
something.
All right. All right. I was curious just what all it was involved in it.
Yeah, there's a really large filter container.
Yeah, I'm sure at that size pool,
Yes,
it's
yes,
going to be...
there's two, actually, and then there's a bunch of plumbing that goes in front of it, so it'd be really hard to get it to drag it out, to put it all out. So the
Sure.
easiest way is to come from the top.
Okay.
Thank you for looking into that.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I don't...
All right, thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
I would, at this time, if there's no more discussion, I'd move to approve the Westport pools in the amount of $25,500 for the pool media change.
And I'll second the motion.
I will call for the vote. Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
and Alderman Whalen.
Yes.
Next up, we got some new and miscellaneous business, the loggers annual meeting for 2024.
So, everyone.
It's muted.
I don't think so.
There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought- anyway. Normally, I go to these annual meetings, but this year I am unable to attend them. So I'm asking that you approve to send Assistant City Clerk Sir to this one this year.
Okay.
Any objections?
I don't have any questions.
Nope.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I'd move to appoint Assistant City Clerk Wanda Sir to attend the loggers meeting this year.
I second the motion.
And I will call for the vote. Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
Alderman Whalen,
Yes.
and Alderman Bolerjack.
Yes.
Next up is records disposal.
Do you want us to explain this?
Sure.
Maybe
I think we
briefly.
can.
Yeah.
Okay, so the list of records before you in the staff summary, these are records you'll see in the staff summary. We've actually copied straight from the guidance from the Secretary of State's office.
General retention schedule, there's actually two that we use. So, and you'll see on down, the last one, I believe. Yeah, the pay stubs. That one actually comes from the second one, the local general retention schedule. So that's why it looks a little different, where it uses a state statute. But we've had, Wanda has went through several boxes. I believe we've had a couple utility clerks. They've went through several boxes, and these are all the items that need to be destroyed at this time.
So, we've kind of talked about this previously. This is a task that, that we are undertaking currently and will be moving forward, cleaning out of some of the old boxes and files that we don't need to retain. So this is part of, we had applied for a grant for Laserfish to
Yeah.
digitize files, but a big step of that first is getting rid of the stuff we don't need to keep, and so that we're not scanning and wasting time with that stuff. So like I said, this is just one step. I anticipate moving forward, you guys will see more of this stuff coming before you for your approval to destroy. So.
Stop the hoarding tendencies at the admin office.
What?
I said we can stop the hoarding tendencies at the admin office.
Yes.
Pretty cluttered. This time, do I have a motion for the record disposal?
I move to approve the destruction of documents as presented per state and local record retention schedules.
I'll second.
There's no further discussion. I'll call for the vote. Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
and Alderman Whalen.
Yes.
All right. Next item up is community support funding.
So this is before you, the next three, technically four, but three requests are from community organizations who, not this year, but last year, we actually changed up how organizations can apply for funding through the city. So this is through that process. We have a total budgeted of $20,000 that was approved in this past year's budgeting process for community support. And so before you, this next three items, you have a request from Denton County Extension, a request from SACPA, and of course, you remember Extension was here last meeting and did a presentation. And then we have Sleep in Heavenly Peace, who does have representation here tonight. So, and I believe, ladies, you're prepared to do a presentation or just to answer questions? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just... Apologies, Mayor. I didn't know if you guys wanted to handle these one at a time or if you wanted to listen to their,
Sure.
okay.
Probably do one
Like I
at
said,
a
you don't
time.
have to do a presentation. I'm not sure what you're prepared for.
We're really making ourselves available to answer any questions and maybe to explain why the submission is written the way it is. This is Patty, and she is a ball of fire, and she is your citizen. I am Beth Ayers. I am the chapter president of the Rolla Sleep in Heavenly Peace chapter, and we serve 6 counties. Dent County is one of them. Patty is going to go through training in October, and she will be the chapter president of Dent County Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Because of your deadline, we had to apply with
my name on it because the funds will go through us, but it will be, and I think the way they'll do it is there will be a Dent County fund, and those funds will be, that $4,500 that we're asking for would be spent with receipts where we could present those to you and track. But the purpose of the funds is to buy tools for them. Because if we don't have these funds, then they will have to borrow $4,500 from Sleep in Heavenly Peace and pay that back within a year. There's no interest, but it is a chunk of change, and it really puts them not being able to hit the ground running to build. We'll be here Sunday at First Baptist. They are sponsoring a private build. We'll bring our tools, and we'll build with those. So to make it clear, those tools will belong to the new Dent County chapter after Patty's training in October.
So these are the tools that we actually need to build the beds.
Drills, saws, circular saws, sanders, what's the other word? A dip tank, we'll have to get one of those, anyway, so.
And I know what Sleep in Heavenly Peace is, and I think it's a wonderful program, but for those who may not know, that's either in the crowd or watching live stream or may on the board, do you care to go in detail on exactly what Sleep in Heavenly Peace is and how and why it's such a wonderful program?
Absolutely. And if I can just share my story with that. In 2018, I saw there was a program on Facebook called Returning the Favor, and Mike Rowe, who's Dirty Jobs, I don't know if you guys ever watched him or not, but if you go to YouTube and look up SHP beds and Mike Rowe, you'll get to see that episode that he did. And it was highlighting a man in Idaho who in 2012 became aware of a little girl in his community that didn't have a bed. And so he was kind of the director of some boys in his church, and they put the bed together and delivered it. And that Christmas, his kids were a little whiny about toys or whatever, and he said, you're going to do something for other people. I have lumber left over, we're doing this. Well, they found out that there were more people that needed beds than he had lumber. And so that's how it was his personal mission. So in 2018, all of a sudden, because he was publicized, it just has exponentially grown. And there are over 300 chapters nationwide. We have 17, is this right? We have 18. We have a new 18. You will be number 19 in Missouri. And you'll be very fortunate to have that. We feel like our chapter has just kind of skimmed the surface of the need in Dent County. 12 beds, let's say, in 1 year. Of the 20 beds that we are building on Sunday, 14 of them have names on them in Dent County ready to deliver. So basically, we build the bed component, the headboard and the footboard, the side rails. Those are drilled together on site. A roll of slats, 9 boards, ribboned together. And then if they need a bunk bed, we can do it that way or we can do it separate. They get a brand new mattress, they get a brand new pillow, they get linens, and it's at no charge. There is no income requirement. We find, and I'll use this lady as an example in Dent County, we have a woman that has children and she's working at a nursing home locally. She makes too much money to get any kind of aid. She doesn't make enough money to buy a bed. The cheapest bed you can rent is about $100. Well, if you're a grandparent and you just have inherited 3 children because your own children are having difficulty and can't raise those children, your income, you're not going to be able to show up to buy a bed. Our beds are priced right at $250 for a single bed with the mattress and the pillow and all those things. So volunteers work this together. We get funding from local communities, churches, individuals. My bed bill last week, there was a $100 bill in my jar, and then volunteers who build the beds, volunteers who deliver the beds. It's totally volunteer-based. So Patty will not get a dime.
No. So all volunteers and all donations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that
Absolutely.
explain the process?
Thank you.
And here's our motto: no kid sleeps on the floor in our town. When we go into a home, we're going to be kind to those parents or grandparents. They requested a bed for their kid. They want better, right? We're going to go in and be kind to them. They are part of our community. We want to help that child. Whatever else there is our focus is that kid getting a bed. Any other social concerns or things you could debate, that's not, we don't go there. That's not our job. Our job is to see that a kid has a bed. It affects their behavior. It affects their physical growth, their bones. It affects the next day at school. I taught for 35 years, and I did not know that children didn't have beds. I knew they needed food, I knew that they needed clothes. There's kind of a shame factor associated with this. We also don't have our culture. I grew up on used beds from my grandparents. That is, our culture has just changed. So some of those support systems that we had previously, we're built differently in 2024. So we, as nationwide, say 3% of our population, those children are on the floor, or a pile of dirty clothes, or a moldy mattress that's nasty. So I say that there were times when children were sleepy the next day at school, and I'm sure those are the children that I was encouraging to get to bed earlier. They had no bed, but I didn't know it. So I'm going to do better. I'm retired. I got time. I'm going to do better, and this is my energy and my passion. So,
Thank you.
and Patty's passion as well. So.
I do want to add to Beth's comments, and Beth, thank you so much for being here tonight. So this is for children ages 3 to 17, and anyone can go on to the Sleep in Heavenly Peace website and apply for a bed. It doesn't have to be the family. It can be, for instance, law enforcement or a health professional who finds this need. There is a vetting process that happens once that application is received. So Beth is the chapter president, does a process, speaks to whoever the appropriate family member is or whoever it is for that child to make sure that this child is truly in need, that bed is going to the right person, and it isn't a misunderstanding where somebody wants to redecorate their room. This is truly a child in need who has no bed. So it's a really well-oiled machine. I've been very impressed with Sleep in Heavenly Peace. There's policies and procedures and controls. I'm currently having to go through a pretty extensive training program just to go to the training, which will be in Utah for a weekend. So we are about 4 weeks away from having our official chapter. But I will say thank you to everybody in the community. We've had a team together for probably since early second quarter of this year, and we've met every 4 or 5 weeks and had community meetings, and the support is there from the community, and people really want to help and go forward with this. So we appreciate all of your help in considering our request for the donation. It's a great organization.
And I will tell you that I, last year in September, began the journey of looking into being a president because the previous president had burned out and asked me to take over. And I investigated this thoroughly. I did not want to be associated with anything that was at all. And they have a 95% rating. You can go online and investigate them. Just go to shpbeds.org and you'll see their rating and how they've achieved that. You know, we passed a kind of a monumental number this last week, 1 million bed requests. We received our 1,000th bed request. The sad thing about it is that request was in Michigan in an area where they have no chapter yet. So it was they get a letter that says, we're so sorry we don't have a chapter in your area, but keep looking. We hope to have one to where every county, every city is covered. Places like Schenectady, New York, they will deliver 4,000 beds in a year and have 4,000 people on a waiting line. But we're doing our part in here, and the zip code is what gets a applicant to a chapter. So hopefully we've answered your questions.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
I will say that Patty has stretched me. I got my training in June, so I was birthing a chapter and frantically trying to find out what I was doing. And I think we were being really good for each other. Patty is awesome. The minute I met her, I knew, oh my gosh, she's not going to stay with our chapter very long. So I've had highs and lows. She's not in my chapter, but I get to be a president with her. So I'm so excited for you guys. So excited.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
All right. Now up to the board. Do you guys want to do this one at a time? Well,
It could be easier to do one at a time.
I think so, just for how it's laid out on the agenda.
all right. We'll start off with Missouri Extension.
I'm trying to get back to that.
That's why I'm sitting there jotting all this down. They're asking for 5,800.
Okay. I would move to approve the
getting all this
request
scrolling.
for I'm trying to, sorry, I'm lost in my agenda. 5,800 to the Missouri extension. 8,200.
Yeah, 5,200
Okay. So I will move to approve 8,200 for Missouri extension. Thank you, Stacy.
Then we have a,
And I'll second the motion.
There's a lot in their package.
all right, this time, if there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderman Whalen,
Yes.
and Alderwoman Dent.
Yes.
All right, next up would be SACBUS. You have to sign up for public comment if you have questions, ma'am, at the beginning of it. Next one up is SACBA. They're requesting 5,000.
5,500. I think they're requesting 5,500. No,
That's what I got.
sorry.
Yeah, 5,000.
So I know the SACPA organization, they've been around for a very long time in our community, and they've maintained the welcome signs coming to Salem. They've, in the past, maintained the planters in downtown, and they plan on doing that going forward once we do some updating on the sidewalks down there. They do, maintain the ONCRC. They just do a lot of good for our community, and this is something that the city has donated to SACPA for many years for beautification purposes. And I think they're even requesting less than what they had in previous years. So I don't see any issues with this request. And I would move to approve the request for funding for SACPA.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? I will call for the vote. Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderman Whalen,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco.
Yes.
All right. And last but not least, sleep in heavenly peace. Requesting 4,500.
I'll move to approve the request for $4,500 for sleep in heavenly peace.
I'll second.
All right. I'll call for the vote. Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
and Alderman Whalen.
Yes.
Next item up is the Christmas lighting contest.
Okay, so this is a new request, and I've talked with Melissa about this. We've kind of talked about it among staff. Light Up the Park that we kind of started during COVID, I believe. It was a great success the first year, and unfortunately what's happened kind of since then is participation has been dying off. We've also had more and more concerns with folks maintaining their displays once they're set up. The wind comes through, blows stuff over, knocks lights out. And so it's eating up more and more city staff time to make sure that it's presentable and up like it should be. And so we kind of talked about it some, and what we're proposing is that we maybe shift gears, and instead of having something that burdens staff during that time, we kind of flip that and the city sponsor a lighting contest. This proposal would be to have two categories, keep it simple, residential and commercial, and then offer prizes. And so we're proposing that the prizes be utility credits, but that it not be funded through utilities, that it come from this line item. All of the dollars have not been spoken for. That's not to say that additional requests couldn't come forward. We left it open so that that could happen through the year. But that didn't happen last year, and, you know, I mean, looking at where we're at now, what we're proposing is that we take $350 from this fund to fund those utility credits. So that would be in each category, $100 for first place, 50 for second, 25 for third, as a credit on a utility electric bill. So that's the basic proposal. So I did approach the Chamber of Commerce earlier today. They had their board meeting earlier today. They are opting not to judge it for us. I had kind of approached them about them judging. That way it wasn't city staff or electeds. They opted not to for similar reasons. If there's a commercial contest, they're all businesses in the community. And so they opted not to. They like the idea, but they don't want to, you know, for the same reasons, don't want to be the ones judging it. So they recommended that maybe we look at some other civic organization who might be interested in judging it. So anyway, you know, obviously there's more detail we can put on this, but I just wanted to kind of see how you all feel about it. Open to answer any questions anyone may have.
I think it's a great idea. I think it'd be good to move forward with that.
Anyone else?
I'm good. I think it's a good idea.
All right, do we have a motion to accept it?
I move to approve the request for funding for the holiday lighting contest.
I'll second.
I'll call for the vote. Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
Alderman Whalen.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, next up, the sewer adjustment policy.
So this before you, this did run through the utility committee. We have a staff and a utility committee recommendation. So on this, currently when a customer has a water leak, the city has for multiple years done a sewer adjustment when that customer brought in proof that they've fixed the leak. So whether that's an invoice from a plumber, receipts where they purchased the parts, and so then we would adjust out the cost, the additional cost of the sewer. We take it back down to the average usage. But we don't have a time frame on that. And so this policy change recommends that we do no more than 3 months. And as it was stated in the utility committee, the 3 most recent months, that we would back out the excess charges and take them back down to the average usage. Because right now we don't have an end to that. So as an example, we had a situation where a leak wasn't fixed from last February, and then they brought in, you know, a receipt in August that they had fixed it. So, you know, should the city back out all the way back to February? So that's what this is getting at. You know, that we ask if there's a leak for your sake as a customer as well as for the city's, let's get it fixed. We'll work with you, absolutely, but to put a cap on it. As an example, the Serve-Line program, they only reimburse 2 months' worth of high water bills. So in the instance of a leak. So just to kind of, you know, a little extra reference.
All right, this time I'll open it up for the board for discussion.
I don't have anything.
I do not either.
Good.
All right. This time, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the sewer adjustment policy for water leaks to include no more than 3 recent months.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
I'll call for the vote. Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderman Whalen,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco.
Yes.
Next up is Resolution 23-2024.
Resolution number 23-2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute contract change order number 1 between TriCat, the city of Salem, Missouri, and Richard LaBrash of property located at 1500 South Louise Street, Salem, Missouri.
Thank you.
So this is a contract that was previously approved. The work has been completed, but of course, there was a portion that was not done. The owner told them that was fine, that didn't need to be. So this is a reduction of $300 to the amount of that contract for the work that was not performed.
This time, do I have a motion for Resolution 23-2024?
I move to approve resolution number 23-2024.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion, please.
Any further discussion? I will call for the vote. Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
Alderman Whalen,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco,
I'll abstain from voting due to my relationship with River Waste Federal Credit Union.
and Alderman Bolerjack.
Yes.
Next up is Resolution number 24-2024.
Resolution number 24-2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement between Gray Construction LLC, the City of Salem, Missouri, and James Hedrick of property located at 102 South Washington Street, Salem, Missouri.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is the actual contract approval for the bid that you approved just earlier in this meeting. So this includes the negotiated bid, which brought the total cost down to $23,000, which is the maximum that's allowed in the program to be covered by the grant. So you can see at the very end of the contract, I can scroll there if you want me to, it has a negotiated bid with that amount notated. Okay. But like I said, that they did negotiate that down to a $23,000 even.
All right. This time, do I have a motion for Resolution 24-2024?
Make a motion to approve Resolution 24-2024.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
There's no further discussion. I'll call for the vote. Alderman Whalen,
Yes.
Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
and Alderwoman Cisco.
I will abstain from voting for the same reason.
Next item up is the CBDG. All those initials, wastewater treatment plant Phase 2 grant acceptance.
Okay, so that's
Sorry.
the Community Development Block Grant. So this grant, this is the last grant that was proposed that we would apply for funding. A grant amount is $750,000. We were awarded $790,000. And that additional funding is to cover the administration of the grant, which MRPC assisted us with the submittal of this grant. And so we will have an agreement before you at the next meeting for that administration between the
Okay.
city and MRPC. But this is for the acceptance of the grant itself from CDBG. And so just a quick recap, the original total cost for the sewer treatment plant upgrades, Phase 2A and 2B, was initially quoted at $9.5 million. You'll see it says 9.7, so there has been an additional $200,000 added to Phase 2B. 2A was funded through the ARPA grant. That was the $5 million grant that we originally received. So that's previously been awarded. Phase 2B was funded, we have several mechanisms. We have the sewerage bond that, through the state revolving fund that was passed by voters in April of '23 in the amount of $4.7 million, okay? Approval of the sewerage bond, which has not closed yet, okay? We anticipate closure to be December, January, okay? So in a few months still yet. So approval of the bond made us eligible to receive a state revolving fund grant in the amount of $2 million. So that brings us to $7 million. So that reduced the amount that we'll need to bond for. Now with this grant award, that reduces that amount by another $750,000, okay? So the actual bond or debt that we'll incur for these upgrades will be somewhere in the ballpark of 1.7 to 1.9 million, as opposed to 9.5 million, okay? So I just kind of a quick recap of the funding and how that's played out. We've been very fortunate that we've been able to receive these grants, have been awarded these grants that we've applied for.
Yeah.
So,
All right. This time we'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve of the CDBG grant agreement in the amount of $790,000 to fund a wastewater treatment facility upgrades.
I'll second.
If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
and Alderman Whalen.
Yes.
All right, next item up is the Trumpia invoice.
okay, so Trumpia is the company that provides our texting platform that we use to notify citizens. We use it for general notifications and meetings. We use it for utility notifications. We use it for Parks and Rec notifications. We also have a component where we use it for staff notifications. So this is the platform we've used kind of since the very beginning. I think this is our third year. So I kind of show the numbers here in the staff summary, how those have progressed. As of yesterday, we had 535 citizens. And again, the opt-in, because one of the big questions that we get, especially related to utilities, is, well, does the city notify folks before we do disconnects? So there's notification, it's printed on the bill itself, but citizens can opt in to this texting platform. Now, per federal regulations, we have to provide an opt-in. We can't just add people to a text platform. Okay, they have to voluntarily do that. So that's why it's set up this way. The breakdown, so we have, let's see, 409 who receive all city notifications. So that's everything, Parks and Rec, utilities, meeting notices, everything we send out. So that's up from 315. So that's a significant increase from the year before. There's a 409, wait a minute. Yeah, 409 who receive all. 131 who receive only utility-related notices compared to 73 the year before, so that's about doubled. And then 106 who are signed up to receive only Parks and Rec notifications. So again, another significant increase there. So, you know, overall the numbers don't look huge. We have 535 compared to 507 a year ago, but they've kind of shifted in there who's getting what types of messages to meet their needs. So my recommendation at this time is to continue using the platform that's similar that we have, you know, for folks who choose to opt in, we have them already on this platform.
I think it's been a really good service to get announcements out there, and especially for emergency purposes, to help get the word out quickly to citizens as well.
Right.
And I would encourage people to sign up for these text alerts, and I know you share it on Facebook occasionally.
We do. We also pass out the little flyer with all new utility accounts now. That's stapled onto the policies. So that goes out to all new utility accounts as well. We also have those flyers there for anybody who walks in and says, hey, I want to sign up. We have them right there.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I'd move to approve the invoice from Trumpia for texting app services in the amount of $6,000.
I second the motion.
There's no further discussion. I'll call for the vote. Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
Alderman Whalen,
Yes.
and Alderman Bolerjack.
Yes.
Thank you. Next up is reports of city officials, boards, and committees. Ms.
No
Burbidge.
report.
My report, I just wanted to remind everybody, we still have the citywide yard sale, October the 5th coming up, and that is next week on Saturday. I think that the city at the admin, do we have not like lots up that people can rent?
We do. We have parking lot spaces, and so the prices are the same as they've been since I've been with the city. So it's $8 for 2 parking spaces in the parking lot right behind the city admin building. And we had a gentleman come in just this afternoon to sign up for some spaces. So we do have some folks taking advantage of that. So.
All right.
And do you want to mention cleanup?
Yeah. You could. You look eager over there.
I'll
You didn't
let
have a
you.
report. Yeah, GFL's hosting its annual fall cleanup, and it's scheduled for October the 21st through the 25th. So after the citywide yard sale, you got plenty of time to throw all that unwanted furniture. Not later on in the year. Not right before Christmas. October is the day. Other than that, I want to end my report by giving my condolences to our late fire chief, retired fire chief Tom Roof, who served our community greatly. So just a big thank you and heartfelt thoughts and prayers out to his family. They're hosting his memorial tonight. So other than that, that's all I have for my report. Next person up for their report is Mr. Steve Payne.
Good evening, Alderman, Mayor. Okay, we're going to start off with the wastewater treatment plant. Miscellaneous repairs for the week, past 2 weeks. Daily testing continues with weekly sample runs to Springfield. Continued training of the new team member and preparations being made for phase 2 of the sewer plant upgrades. So I was going to ask Sally again, what was the wastewater treatment plant grant total?
This grant approved tonight,
No, the total overall, was it?
$7,750,000.
That's a lot of grant. That's really great.
That's
I just
huge.
wanted to point out that we've got that given to us to work on our sewer plant. That is amazing. So I'll move on, thank you. I'll move on to water. We repaired multiple water service lines across the city, conducted long corrections on large line repair off of 3rd Street. As you know, the water department goes back through when they're available, and they do actual topsoil replacement and seeding and straw and such. So that takes some time, and we've got some people we're working on catching up on their lawn stuff, but they are working on it when they can. So I keep on them. Moving closer to bid opening on the new water tower, there was some other steps we took, and we're getting closer to that, correct? Good stuff. Started checking fire hydrants for leaks with a camera. We're going in to make sure that we know what's wrong and that we can get the repair seals repaired on fire hydrants when time permits. Lots of locates conducted across the city by the water department as well. So I did want to say, repeat for everyone's edification. If you've got a water department problem, a leak, electric department problem, trees in the lines, lights, street lights, those types of things. If everyone could just call 729-4811, that's just a great help to us because, if it goes on to social media world, that's not real. That doesn't get any traction. But if it goes on to the 4811 system and we talk to you and take down a work order, it's being tracked. Plus, that's good. It's good for us to see what we're getting done as a city and where we can make improvements. So,
Steve, after hours, they would call the police department, correct?
yes, call and dispatch. If you call somebody else outside of the dispatch loop, it just takes longer for the system to work because an alderman has to call and find me, and then I find the crew and we get it knocked out. But if you call dispatch after hours, they have the on-call lists of who's on duty, and we jump on it quick. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Water department, electric department, on-call, wastewater treatment. We're on-call for sewer problems, all the stuff. So,
And that dispatch number, 729-4242, that's police dispatch.
there we go.
Right, if you have
4214.
after-hours utility issues.
Yeah. So, and a big thanks to the crews. They really do good at their on-call time. I mean, they're constantly on things across the city over the weekend and the evenings. So, our electric department fixed 4 outages across the city during and after the storm. The electric department's researching documented easements for pole replacements in hard-to-reach areas. We've got a few spots in town where we need to replace several poles that are soft, and you've got these easements, and then neighbors have kind of encroached with fences and sheds and things, so that takes some time to get it figured out and work through the lawyer and make sure that we do it the right way and we get the poles replaced. So, working on that. The line trimming crew's making major gains on a phase 3 line over at US Foods. That line I don't think had been worked on for 8 years, so it had really become overgrown, and So they've been working on that. There was outage over off of Roosevelt, the neighborhood behind Walmart there. So the line crew went over and just knocked out a whole row of trees and trimmed that up. They are really making some progress. So I just asked that folks that have work orders in, we're working on that, and we're making gains. So we'll be getting to, helping folks out. So continue replacing several streetlights to include 6 at the Housing Authority area. And I had a Ms. Wanda Hanson call in, and she was just tickled. So really happy to see those lights in the Housing Authority area get taken care of. So it's nice to get a thank you on the phone every once in a while. We're working on finishing up the Al Brownfield project. They've got a pull line through there, and that'll be getting tied up here hopefully soon. Unfortunately, anytime we trench and then we get 5 to 6 inches of rain, or 5 something, yeah, the trench is full of water, so it's going to take some time. So the electric department assisted the wastewater treatment plant with a motor lift and replacement. They do a lot of crane work with the stuff that's too heavy, engineer out the hazard, make sure nobody hurts their back lifting something that they shouldn't. Electric department also on top of their locates, lots of locates called in. Construction department's working on curb removal. Well, they took care of it at 812 East per the East First Street per the citizens' request. Poured a transformer pad at Al Brown Fields for that project, and they're working to finish up a large curb on Acuff Street. It's pretty much a block, When we find that, someone in the neighborhood's taking on water really bad, we're doing what we can with what we have to get it fixed. And so construction crews also finished, still working on office space. They're just about done at the administrative building. So street department cleaned out storm drains, ditches, and debris from the rainstorm. We actually had the lead man out until 9 p.m. on Monday night trying to go to the hot spots where they have storm drains that back up or they, maybe get clogged up. So, and we still took a lot of calls. That was a lot of rainwater, and I'd just like the citizens to know that we're, they're working at it. And if you've called into my office, I'll return your calls in the morning. I don't like calling people at 6 o'clock at night. I was out today, so I'm following up. But crews are doing what they can. I've got the mayor's giving me a couple of locations. We'll dig out storm drains. And once again, if it's a storm drain issue, also call dispatch after hours or call the 4811 during the day, and we'll get someone on it. Continue mowing. We're hopefully wrapping up that season, but we'll probably get another spurt of growth at the graveyard and whatnot. Yard waste maintenance is conducted. Like I said, the yard waste area out, if you've never went out there to dump anything off at the out in the industrial park, we really take a lot of debris. I mean, they are just that's a constant job to keep that thing scooped up and buried or burnt, whatever, but cleaned up. Miscellaneous jobs with other utility departments were conducted by streets to include parks and rec. Like I said, I just love the team effort. Our guys just jump right in and help each other out. It's really going well. The mechanic worked on projects at Old City Hall and Administrative Building in his capacity as maintenance man as well. He's knocking out a lot of things that, there's been a laundry list of projects that John's getting on, and we really appreciate it. That's John Roos. Worked on the street department, electric department vehicle fleet, keeping our mowers and brush hogs on the job, which is greatly appreciated. Cemetery crew, keeping up their mowing and trimming maintenance, and help set up and tear down for a funeral. Continue training for their new seasonal team member. So that's what I've got. Sorry, I just, what?
That's a list.
I like to take a little time to brag on the crews because they're really trying to keep after it. And, we're making gains on things and it feels good. So I talked a lot. Anybody have any questions?
Steve, I just want to thank Brent and Sally yesterday. The one rain day I didn't wear my rain boots or my muck boots. We had a resident reach out. The last time it rained heavily, and he's like, my street's flooding. I don't know what to do about it. So he did call. They recommended that just call the office when there's a big rain like that, and they'll come and empty or clean out the drain. So I thought, well, heck, I'm already out. I'll just drive over and see what it's like. So I got out, and I'm out there in my work shoes trying to get this drain. I'm like, Sally, I don't know what I'm doing. So I didn't realize you were out of the office, so I apologize. But I did reach Sally, and we reached Brent, and they ended up sending a city crew out. So I assume that's the person working till 9 p.m. last night. But I'm very thankful that they were able to get out there and clean that out because the street was a little bit underwater. So very thankful for your crew and getting out there and getting that fixed so quickly. So thank you.
Yeah, you take, no worries. I take the calls, days off, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's an on-duty thing. It's like being married.
Yeah.
You're just kind of always on duty, so.
All right.
Any other questions?
I don't think so. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Steve,
thank
I've
you.
got one.
Oh, yes, sir.
On the transformers this summer and the squirrels, are we still replacing them monthly with animals shorting out the transformers?
They do some transformer swaps here and there. I don't really talk about it very often, but if you want me to, I could let you know in the briefings when they do swap them out. And we did get we're working on the bid process for the power line, feeder line cleanup, which
Okay.
will stop some of that
Okay.
squirrel traffic.
So we're still on
hopefully.
track
So-
with that, cleaning up?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So you
Good.
guys should have that bid approval before your next Alderman meeting. Okay. So we did the bid opening, and you'll have that information next Alderman meeting.
Okay. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Roger that.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right. Well, it looks like since Melissa took off, Stacy, you're up.
Okay,
I didn't mark what page you're,
it's at the very end.
260 is what I have.
260. All right, we'll try that. Perfect.
Go up one. Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. This slide shows an update on our sales tax revenues. This is what we have collected through September. My apologies, the slide says August, but the numbers are through September. The overall sales tax revenues are up 10% from the same time frame as last year. July through September general fund sales tax, we have brought in $848,000. Parks and Rec sales tax revenues has brought in around $159,000, and capital improvement sales tax revenues brought in around $212,000 so far this fiscal year. And next slide. One more.
Or the next one. Okay.
Sorry, one more. Then this page is an overall look of the utility usage and revenues year-to-date, and this is through August. We have sold just under 9.3 million kilowatt hours. That's down 2% compared to same time frame as last year. Electric sales is around 1.3 million in revenues. Purchase of power, this is what the city pays to MPUA to provide power to us. We have paid out $803,000. That is up slightly compared to last year. Water consumption, we've billed out 22.5 million gallons. That is up around 3% compared to same time frame as last year. Water sales revenues are just under $150,000. And then on the sewer consumption, we billed out around 19.8 million gallons, which comes to around $188,000 in sewer revenues. Okay, next slide. Okay, and this page is a list of all the city funds. It shows the activity in each fund through August. It shows the beginning balance of this fiscal year, which was July 1st. Then we have the revenues and expenses and any transfers between funds. Then the very last column is the ending balance in that fund as of August 31st. And then the total of all funds comes to 10.7 million. And then the next slide. This slide shows the total fund revenues and expenditures compared to what we have budgeted. For revenues through August, we have brought in 13% of what we have budgeted for the year, and we have expended 16% of what we had budgeted. The main reason expenditures exceed revenues at this time are due to one-time expenditures that hit at the beginning of the fiscal year, such as workman's comp and general insurance liability. We also have $241,000 in airport grant expenses that we have paid out but have not received the reimbursement yet. So, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. All right, next up is board reports. Our start with Alderman Whalen.
No report.
Alderwoman Dent.
No report.
Quiet on the west side. All right, let's try the east side. Alderman Bolerjack.
No report.
Got
Of
it.
course, I have one.
Alderwoman Cisco, go for
The
it.
Fireworks Committee has we finally have a event up on our Facebook page. So if you're not following the Facebook page already for the Fireworks Committee, it's just Salem Mo Fireworks, and that's how we are posting all the updates for the fireworks and different events that we have going on to raise funds. So currently, we're planning a pancakes and pajamas event. So we did create that event out there. So please go out and just check out what we have. We'll be selling tickets just for pancakes. It's going to give an opportunity for you, your child, grandchild to come and take pictures in your PJs with Santa, watch a cute little Christmas movie, and eat as many pancakes as you would like. So we'll be cooking them. They should be delicious. And then the Traveling League for Boys, they're having tryouts on October 14th. This will take place at the upper elementary. You will enter in the back door by the playground. So I know in the past people have had trouble getting into doors. So just go to the back side of the building and you can get in any of those doors. This is going to be for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade boys. You do have to reside in Salem, Missouri, but it does not matter what school you attend. 3rd grade will start at 5:15, and then the 4th and 5th grade boys tryouts will start at 6:30. You do have to sign up, so we do ask that you show up at least 15 minutes before tryouts originally start. So 5 o'clock for 3rd grade, and then 6:15 for 4th and 5th. So if you have any questions on that, you can reach out to myself or Luke Highhold.
Is that it?
That is all I have.
You sure?
I could go on thanking city staff and how great they've been in getting work done. Or we can,
All right, I'll sum it up. All city staff, you guys are incredibly awesome. I'll take the words out of her mouth right now.
thank you.
All awesome. All right, last but not least, do I have a motion to go into closed session
I'll move to go into closed session
for infrastructure and personnel?
for infrastructure and personnel.
And I'll second the motion.
This time I'll call for the vote. Alderwoman Cisco,
Yes.
Alderman Bolerjack,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dent,
Yes.
and Alderman Whalen.
Yes.
Thank you all for attending tonight.